Angela Ward, your host with the Game Changers. It is such an honor to have CEO and Director Mr. Larry Hanson of Georgia Municipal Association here with me today on the show. Thank you for being here with me today. How are you doing?
Well, I'm doing very well, Angela. It's always good to be with you. Certainly, I had the opportunity and enjoyed it to work with you while I was in Valdosta, and we've done
Yes.
an interview in the past. But it's great to be with you and appreciate the good work you do in sharing messages with your audience about things that are important.
Thank you so much. So, I love to just, educate people on what individual does in the community and within our state. Could you just let everyone know, and I know we briefly talked about this before in our past interview, but what does Larry Hanson do? I know he's the ED of Georgia Municipal Association, but you represent a lot of cities in Georgia, what, 536 cities. So let everybody know, what do you do?
Well, we are a nonprofit association. Our members are the cities of Georgia. They have a choice. It's voluntary, so they choose to be a member and pay dues. We are proud that all 536 cities of Georgia are members. So here at GMA, we employ about 114 professionals. We have a team of 5 lobbyists that lobby at the Capitol each and every day on behalf of cities and issues that impact cities, both issues we advocate for things that are good for cities and people that live in them, and we advocate against legislation that we think might be harmful to cities or those that live in them. We have a federal lobbyist as well. We do a lot of training and education. In fact, in the November elections, there are nearly 500 new municipal elected officials in Georgia, including 80 new mayors. So
A
by
lot of training.
law, they are required to undergo training that we provide. So in February, we'll have about 250 of those in Athens for 3 days, and in March, the others in Tifton for 3 days. So we do a lot of training and education to help local elected and appointed officials better meet their responsibilities and serve their communities. And then we also provide many cities with their retirement and insurance programs. We are big in those areas. So, for instance, Valdosta is a member of the GMA Managed Retirement Program, as are
Okay.
300 cities. Many cities are in our healthcare program. So, collectively, we manage over $3 billion in assets of cities to make sure that city employees and city elected officials in cities all across this Georgia are part of a good retirement program so that they'll have something one day when they retire. So that's a big service for us. And then we do a lot of other services. We help cities with motel hotel tax collections, managing their right of way and making sure they're compensated appropriately by whether it's cable companies, phone companies, fiber companies, whoever
Yes.
may be in their right of way. We help make sure cities are getting compensated properly. So we really do a lot of different things. We just had our Cities United Summit last weekend here
Yes.
in
Last
Atlanta.
weekend, correct? Yes,
Yeah.
that's right.
We had 1,200 city officials here for 4 days for training and advocacy. We are blessed that we heard from the governor, the lieutenant governor, the speaker, speaking to our membership about municipal issues and hearing from our members about what's important. And our big convention is in Savannah every year, where we bring over 2,500 city officials together
Wow.
for 4 days of training and education and learning and networking together. That's a big part of learning in Savannah in late June each year. So we do a lot of things, as cities are our only customers, and we're proud to work with them and serve with them.
That's awesome. And I want to ask you, I heard you say that you represent you help make sure the funding goes for the hotel tax.
Mhm.
What, I know that there's a question that steams around the Valdosta area about the tax money that hotels bring in. Could that could those funds be used towards transportation?
Well, that is one of the most complicated areas of law is the use of accommodation tax proceeds. There are probably 15 or 16 different options that cities and counties have to choose from into how they utilize their tax proceeds. And it's
Mhm.
as complicated as how many different options are. For instance, you can have a 3% tax, a 5%, a 6%, a
Right.
7%, an 8%. And some of those are conditions. If you go above 5, you're required to do part of with this. If you go from 7 to 8, you're required that 8 penny must go for certain things. So there are a lot of options that local
Right.
governments have. Typically the first 3 pennies, local governments have a lot of discretion into how they use that. So it could be used for transportation. But again, the local government, in this case, Valdosta contracts with in Lowndes County with the Valdosta Conference Center and Tourism Authority, and,
Yes.
and they really help allocate those funds. But I do believe the city retains a couple of percentage points. They used to use some of it to help subsidize Mathis Auditorium and some other things related to that. But the answer to your question is yes, there is some local discretion by the local governing authorities and how those funds are allocated.
Okay. And I just wanted to, be able to better answer that question
Yeah,
when I am asked that, or
sure.
and just also just have some knowledge on my own with it. But
Yeah.
I know that you represent so many cities across the state of Georgia. And as you know, film is getting really huge down here. We're very excited about it. What are your thoughts on the film coming into this industry in South Georgia, below Macon?
Well, I think it's a great untapped resource. Valdosta and
Absolutely.
Lowndes County have done really well in some areas. Some of these type of things are challenged. I think obviously we're the farthest community away from Atlanta, so that's a bit
Yes.
of a challenge. A lot of film producers come in, they fly into Atlanta, they end up staying in this area, but that business is growing. Georgia has tax incentives better than any state in the country, and that has
Yes.
led to Georgia becoming the state, the Hollywood of the South, and perhaps even passing California. So it is a great opportunity. And our area has a lot of unique things that would be great
That is
settings
so true.
for video opportunities. And I know that the conference center, the tourism authority, I think is looking at ways to become more competitive in that area. But it is a major economic engine now in Georgia, and it does create jobs in the private sector. And of course, you can't place a value on having the name of your community on scrolling across a screen and your
That's right.
community being featured in a best-selling film or a Hollywood production or a major movie. So I think that it is an opportunity our community still has to prosper.
I'm super excited about it. Recently I did my second documentary along with Stephen Hedden
Right,
of Fusion Marketing, and we actually possibly will have the opportunity to have it's the Reformation Project
right.
having the governor to review it within the next couple of months or so. So we're excited about that. So I'm just super happy that film is coming into our areas because it
Yeah,
provides opportunity, and broad opportunity for electricians, people that do hair, makeup artists, any business, food trucks. So I
builders,
think it
contractors building all
right.
those sets. I mean,
Right,
yeah,
absolutely. So I think it is, part of the workforce. And so I know I'm really excited about that. I know that is really huge for a lot of the corporations in this area, such as Georgia Power, are very concerned about
yeah,
workforce development. And so I'm excited to see where we will be um as a city,
right,
but also as an area in the next 10
right.
years.
Yeah.
So let's talk about Young Game Changers. I'm so honored to be a part of the 2024 class that is coming up. So why are you backing the Young Game Changers program? What makes you happy about it, and how has it impacted and what you have seen through the Georgia municipal, sorry,
Municipal.
through the municipal association?
Yeah. Well, this will be the 11th year of the Young Game Changers program. It's fantastic because it's both a leadership development program and a community action program. So each year, cities can compete, they can apply to be considered to be the chosen community. So it's competitive. And we have a team here that evaluates proposal and picks one. In this case, it was Valdosta. So that's fantastic. So basically,
Yes.
then you go through an application process, which you did, 50 people, and many compete. This has become the equivalent of like a Leadership Georgia program. It's highly competitive
Wow.
to get in. So only the best are chosen. Good people are turned down because we only have 50 spots. And so of each year, the class will be 1/3 from the host community, 1/3 from Metro Atlanta, and 1/3 from all of the rest of Georgia. So when Valdosta convenes this group for 4 meetings, they will be having that blend. They'll have a third local, a third statewide, a third Metro Atlanta. So it brings people from all walks of life. Well, what's great about it, and I noticed this more since I moved here 6 years ago, but I still have my home and my children still live in Valdosta, so I come home
Right.
frequently. But I realize now when I come home, I see things that I did not see before.
Yes.
When I was riding
Growing.
down the streets every day and riding the community, there are things that you become a creature of habit and you go from where you are to where you're going. And now when I
Right.
come home, I see things I didn't before. So the beauty of this program is we're bringing together 50 bright, energetic young people who have ideas of their own and who want to contribute to helping lift the
Yes.
community up. They come in, the community identifies 3 or 4 subject areas that they think they need help in, and then this young team comes in, they do a comprehensive evaluation, they take bus tours, they see things, they form teams, and then they literally build a program. And at the end of their 6 months of work, they're typically making a final presentation that's 300 pages of not just ideas, but actually action items that they've gone to the extent to create projects, to suggest what they'll cost, to suggest ideas how to pay for them. And as an example, 2 years ago, I was in Dalton for the final report. And the young game changers, you and your team will make that report to several
Yes.
hundred community leaders, and their report made recommendations of some amazing things, some linear parks to connect certain areas of the community, and they saw a way to do it in ways that the community had not. I was in Dalton a year later, and they shared with me that they had recently bid out and awarded a contract to build $1 million project that was a
Wow.
recommendation of the Young Game Changers.
Now, I was getting ready to ask you
Yeah,
what are some
yeah,
success of the program?
yeah.
So that's amazing.
Yeah, and Dublin was a community. Douglasville's been a community. Albany, I could name a number of other cities that were among those 11 hosts. The mayor of Dublin used to share with me that this group saw an opportunity for them to celebrate Martin Luther King's heritage and history with that city of Dublin and
Yes.
create a park and a monument that has become a huge tourist draw to them. And it was a dream of the young game changers that they presented to the community, that the community then embraced and built and made happen. So I'm certain this group is going to come into Valdosta,
Absolutely.
visit 2 or 3 days, then come back 3 more times, evaluate it, make recommendations of things that are going to excite the community and help take Valdosta to the next level by having these really bright, young, energetic people under the age of 40 see things that we often don't see ourselves.
Well, I love the mission of that. I love the direction that that you young game changers have done the past 11 years. And I'm excited. I'm
Yeah,
excited, you know, to not only represent my hometown and my city, but also here because sometimes we need people on the outside to look in to kind of see, okay, this is what I see from the outside.
yeah,
But we also need the people within to say, no,
good.
it's not like that, or no, we're working on this, but how can we do it
Right,
better? So I
right.
think that is so important.
Yeah.
Mr. Hanson, I want to ask you this one last question.
Okay.
You know, what do you see for Georgia? What do you want as a huge leader, as a career that has really made your mark
Mhm.
within South Georgia and within the GMA? What do you want to see for Georgia and see for the city of Valdosta
Sure.
in the
Well, one
next
of the
five
things
years?
I think we're really focused on right now, we have 3 nonprofits under the GMA umbrella, and one of them is GeorgiaForward, which the Young Game Changers program operates through. Another is called Georgia City Solutions, where as we evaluate all the cities in Georgia, we see some similarities. We see similarities among the communities that are most successful, and we see similarities among the communities that have challenges. And so what we're building right now are programs to help lift up many cities that have not reached their potential. So what are the
Mm,
reasons why? Many of those are rooted in issues related to intergenerational poverty. There are issues of youth leadership development, literacy, workforce development. Um,
yes,
and so we're building programs, equity and inclusion programs, to come into cities and help them get better in those areas that we can provide the training. We can help them make sure their third grade reading levels are on point by
so
programs. We have
important.
Mayor's Reading Club now with 80 mayors. We've published 2 books now, giving it to young children to help. For some children, it's the first book in their home. So we know to
Mm,
change things, we've got to start with our young people. We've got
that's
to
right.
encourage and inspire them. We've got to open young people's mind through these
And start young.
leadership development programs about the importance of government, about civics, about the role that it plays in their life. We need to inspire young people to want to be in public service, to run for mayor one day, to run for council, to serve in a city in a position where you're contributing to the quality of
That's
life in
right.
your community and you're earning a good income. So we're really focused right now on making sure we work to lift up cities that often don't have the resources to meet the
Right.
needs that they have. Valdosta has a lot going for it. We're fortunate to be an interstate community. We have regional entities. We have a regional university, but yet we'll always have needs,
That's
and so
right.
we can always learn from each other. But what I want to see is Georgia lifted up as a state where we make sure that we improve those that are living in poverty, that we have adequate health care all across the
Yes.
state. We have rural areas of the state where that's a challenge, where everyone doesn't have access to a doctor or hospital. Valdosta is
Right.
blessed to have
And
South Georgia Medical Center and its many things, but that we're making sure that our education system is
and
where it should
broadband.
be, because and that's right, and making sure our broadband, because see, broadband is as important as roads and water and sewer were
That's right.
years ago. It's infrastructure. If you do not have it, you cannot be competitive. And so those things take time and money and investment. And
Right.
that's what we're here to help support our cities and making sure they do the planning. There's a lot of federal money right now to have access to those things, making sure they're taking advantage of that through ARPA funds and other things, broadband funding. And that's a lot of what we do. But I want to make sure that our cities are prepared for future generations, that we're lifting
That's
young
right.
people up, making sure they have the foundation that they need. And that foundation comes with an education, access to broadband where they can make sure they're able to do their homework assignments, and preparing youth to be leaders. They are our future leaders, and it's our
That
job
is so true.
to sure we prepare them so that they can be successful and we can be successful.
That is so true. Well, thank you so much, Mr. Hanson, for being on the Game Changers. It's such uh, it's amazing to have you on, especially talking about the Young Game Changers program. So excited about it and look forward to having you on in the future.
Thank you, and again, congratulations to you for being a young game changer.
Thank you. Thank you so much,
All
sir.
right, good to see you, Angela.
Bye bye.